bill, which will be also amending the law governing the Waqf boards. It's likely to be introduced in the parliament tomorrow. Now, CNN News 18 has exclusively accessed the Waqf amendment bill, which has been in the works for the last few years, with the government also meeting with various stakeholders, taking their inputs, including members of the community, eminent jurists and lawyers as well. The government has proposed over 40 amendments. Registration of the Waqf property through a central portal and database protecting the rights of the Bohras and ensuring participation of women are some of the salient features in this bill. The new bill proposes to reduce the powers of the Waqf tribunal, including provision for appeal against the tribunal order before the High Court. Okay, Pallavi is with me. Pallavi, Centre all set to bringing this bill to curb the Waqf board powers on assets that they presently enjoy. The opposition, especially the Samajwadi Party, has come out saying that they will completely oppose this bill. What is going to be the plan for the government when they table this bill, and when is it likely to happen?
So it's likely to happen tomorrow, as Payal also has been reporting. Tomorrow also happens to be the last day, 9th actually. It is likely to be tabled tomorrow, that is 8th, and 9th happens to be the last day of the parliament session. Maybe it's quite possible that they don't allot or slot any time for debate and discussion. It is referred immediately to the select committee where, it is discussed in a threadbare manner. Of course, knives are already out. The government has defended it on two grounds. First of all, there are instances of people in entire village, for example, in Tamil Nadu, completely being wiped out because they've gone to the Waqf board. People who wanted to sell off their land are unable to do so because they realize that they need to get an NOC from the Waqf board, which never really happens. It is these people who are also being targeted as far as the amendments are concerned to ensure this doesn't happen. But the second and the most progressive part of this amendment, 40 of them cleared by the cabinet, is to ensure that there are important communities who have been overlooked, whether it's women, whether they are minorities, the Bohra community, for example. They are the ones who have been overlooked as far as the working of the Waqf board for years is concerned. Their concerns are going to be addressed. They are going to be adequate representation should be given to them. And Waqf board have become like a fiefdom. That is what government says. We have to ensure that this fiefdom does not exist. It cannot be unchecked, uncontrolled, and it has to be more representative. It has to be more inclusive. Now, these are the kind of defenses coming in from the government, and also its clarification that this is not snatching away the land of the minorities. The opposition parties are not accepting it. For now, the Samajwadi Party has been very, very open about it. Some Congress leaders have been open about it, that we are going to resist this kind of a legislation because we know how it's going to be misused and we know what is going to happen. This government has always been anti-minority.
Interesting. Stay on with me. Payal and Aman also joins me on the broadcast. Payal, coming to you first, the proposed amendments, like Pallavi was mentioning, aims to enhance inclusivity, to ensure women's representation and to ensure more transparency. Now, I do believe that you have the exclusive copy of, the Waqf Board Amendment Act. Can you tell us a little bit more on the big points, those 40 amendments that have been proposed by the government?
Those are close to 44 amendments, if I can precisely, recall whatever I've seen of the bill. But importantly, Avantika, not only does it speak about the empowerment of women, which of course has been at the center stage as far as Modi policy is concerned. The name of the bill also, talks about it. It talks about, empowerment. It talks about, equality. It talks about the fact that there has to be a representation which has to be given to various stratas of society. The Bohras and the, the Aga Khani Muslims are people who've actually for the longest waited for some sort of a protection to come their way, so that is something which is ensured by the bill as well. And so far, whenever you had any discrepancy about the Waqf property, you would have to rest your case only with the Waqf board and the tribunal. But now you'll have the powers to, in fact, go to a higher level, go to the judiciary. You can even seek the interference of the judiciary. That is something which is being looked for. But most importantly, so far nobody had any idea of what Waqf properties were, who were the inheritors. It also speaks about women being given the inheritance of these Waqf properties. But, so far, whenever these properties were there, they were running into crores. But the income or the revenue coming from there, Avantika, was less than 200 crores. And that is something which is not going to be there. Transparency will be there. That's the reason. Registration will happen on an online portal. It will happen digitally so that every property is registered and, the end beneficiary. So, government has been telling us that the end beneficiary, which is the poor Muslims, the women, who've reached out to the government saying that some sort of reform is long pending, it has to be done. That is something which the government is assured, and that's the reason they brought about this bill. They said that the obsolete bill has been done away with. The idea is to bring in a system which is more transparent, more inclusive, and more empowering of the weakest of the weak section. Given very clearly that the Waqf board also has these properties which are given for the welfare of the Muslim community, and there's no way in which the welfare of the Muslim community cannot will take a back step. But the people who actually deserve the benefits will be the ones who will be given that benefit, and not that it's in the powerful who are controlling the Waqf board and its properties right now.
Absolutely. Aman, if the government intends that the amendments to the Waqf law is only meant to usher in, transparency, make it more forward-looking, make it more modern, and ensure gender diversity, why is it that the opposition party are going to be opposing it? Akhilesh Yadav is saying that this is only being done to curb the Waqf rights and, what they have been allotted to legally for years on. And why is it happening now?
Well, Avantika, whatever opposition parties are saying and whoever we have spoken to the opposition basically say there have been no stakeholder consultation, that the bill should be sent to a standing committee or a select committee for more consultation because these are wide-ranging changes which are being brought. The government, I don't think, is in any mood to delay the bill anymore. In fact, the government sources have been saying that they are under a lot of pressure. There's a lot of demand from common Muslims to bring these much-needed changes to the Waqf Act. What are the three big changes, I would say, what Payal has also been reporting? Number one, that right now, if a property is declared Waqf property, there is no foolproof mechanism to go and actually check the title of the property and if the person is actually wanting to give it to the Waqf board. Number two, if you can go to a tribunal under the Waqf board, but there is no appellate authority. Tribunal decision is final. The role of the government and the role of the courts in the Waqf board activities is very, very minimal. In fact, it is not even there after the last amendment, which was carried out in 2013. Also, the government is trying to include is the presence of non-Muslims in the Waqf board. If they're elected representatives, be it MPs, be it MLAs, why can't they be put on the Waqf board in the states? That is what the government's argument is. The larger thing is, of course, government is saying that the poor Muslims who are the victims, or in this case, they have approached the government. They have been coming to the government with representation saying that Waqf board need changes. And that is why the government is bringing it. This bill, the government also very clearly says nothing to do with politics or upcoming elections, because this amendment has been in the works, has been in discussion for almost the last 2 years. And it's finally now that the government is bringing it. In fact, the government said it is being blamed by common Muslims for delaying these amendments for very long. And that is why we'll see this bill coming to parliament tomorrow as soon as the finance bill is passed today.
Interesting. Pallavi, Asaduddin Owaisi is saying that this is all being done to once again divide communities, to curb the powers of the Waqf board, to take away its autonomy. But what's the harm if, this new law makes it mandatory for the Waqf boards to register their properties with the district collector just to ensure their actual valuation? That's, from my understanding, the crux of it. Why is the opposition raising objections to this?
Well, because what many in the BJP and the government feel that there's a bogey which is now being pushed by the opposition party, at least some of them, that this amendment to this Waqf board is actually going to snatch the rights of the minorities, of the Muslims, and is also going to take their land away. The government is making it repeatedly clear. In fact, if you look at the end of the bill, it does give out the aims and objectives, and over there it makes it very, very clear in its aims and objectives that one, we have to ensure that the benefit of the Waqf board, which was first set up to ensure, which is a non-profit organization, to ensure that there is a progress, inclusivity of all the people belonging to the minority or the Muslim community, that is ensured. The objective of the bill also, as we are scrolling and looking at it, also makes this once again clear that we want more women to be represented. We want the Bohra community, for example, to be represented, and we also want to ensure that the land is something which acquired by the Waqf board is done through the proper legal procedure and scrutiny. Just nobody can pick it up and usurp it for themselves. See, what the government has also made it very clear is that the benefits of the Waqf board actually accrues to a few people. They are rich people, they are a handful of them, they are on the board and they are the only ones who are getting the benefits of it.
Right.
They are getting the money, they are getting the power, whereas the purpose and people for whom the board was set up, they are not getting those benefits. Now, how much the government would want to convince and will be able to convince the opposition parties, we have to understand. Parties like SP, TMC, a section of the Congress party, when they are going to be opposing this amendment, clearly it is with an eye on their vote bank.
Oh, absolutely. But interestingly, the government in its defense saying that this has been a consistent demand, especially from the poorer sections of people, to regulate the Waqf properties and to ensure that there is transparency. I'm going to leave it at that. Payal, Pallavi and Aman, thank you all for joining us. Quick break right here on the broadcast. Stay tuned. I'll be back with lots more on the other side.